Well, thank you, everyone, for a truly tremendous first day of the annual meeting. So many months of hard work have come together, and everyone involved in the production of this meeting are really thrilled with the first day's participation. It's been really great. And while for many of us working and learning from home, it can be easy to forget what day it is. I know I do. But I can assure you we're actually only on day 2 of the meeting. And there are still countless opportunities to learn, be inspired, and make lasting connections. Now, before I welcome my next guests, a reminder, if you have any questions about navigating the meeting site, visit the Tips for Attendees page, or visit the help desk, or connect with any of our special virtual meeting guides on Twitter. Now I'm delighted to introduce our 2020 annual meeting chairs, Ariela Sofer and Michael Fu, general co-chairs of the virtual 2020 Informs annual meeting. Ariela is Associate Dean for Administration and Faculty Affairs of the Volgenau School of Engineering at George Mason University. Michael holds the Smith Chair of Management Science in the Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland in College Park. Ariela and Michael, along with the rest of the Informs meeting committee, worked really hand in hand with the Informs staff to transform an in-person meeting hosting thousands of OR and analytics professionals from across the globe to a successful and engaging virtual event. This was a tremendous decision made in such uncertain times. At what point did it become clear that this was the right choice to make?
Well, I think that even back in May and in early June, when the pandemic seemed to be declining, we were hopeful that we could still host the meeting at the wonderful location in National Harbor. But beginning the middle of June and later, the number of COVIDs began to spike, and it became obvious to us that it would not be possible to hold it safely for our attendees and our members and even the Inform staff. And so, because safety is the most important thing, we just eventually decided this has to go online.
Yeah, I just would say, yeah, safety was our number one concern. And I think one thing I think reflected the thinking in our decision is I remember one of the committee members was talking about one of the keynote speakers who's from Europe, and he's one of our older members. And his quote was, I will participate only virtually. Even if you send an airplane with Dr. Fauci in it, I'm not going to be there in person. So I think that kind of summed up a lot of people's impressions about the state of the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sure that's it's quite a feat, and in order to do that, certainly transitioning from what was planned as we mentioned, thousands of people attending in person in one location, and then doing a complete 180 into a complete virtual event. What were some of the biggest challenges that you and the committee members faced?
Well, we've never had an online meeting before, and all the research that was available indicated that just translating a conference from its current format to a new format online, you have to do everything from the beginning. And so I think we had meetings every week or two with the staff, and we rehashed many concepts, and there were 30 people on each conversation, and there were various models, and eventually we homed in on this one, which is, we hope, is a compromise that actually includes some of the interactive feeling of being collegial and people actually interacting with each other, and yet they get the technical content.
Yeah, I would just add that networking was one of our highest priorities, but also being able to kind of access the whole world, because it is an international meeting, even though it's a national meeting. And I think one of the biggest concerns we had was how we would make sure that it would be meaningful to both practitioners and academics as well. And And I have to say that the Inform staff has been just wonderful in working with us and being both flexible and able to look into lots of different options. The committee had lots of different ideas as to how it should go. And every time we would come back into the next meeting, the Inform staff would have all kinds of different options to try to address our concerns.
Well, with so much uncertainty over what the future holds and in having in-person events, what advice would you share about this experience that you went through?
I think that we thought of everything from fresh. That is every aspect. We extended the conference. It's now from Sunday to Friday rather than 4 days. The concept of pre-recording the sessions, that was debated quite a long time. Now the attendees can have the advantage of maybe reviewing talks that they missed later on, 3 months from now or 6 months from now. Everything was reconsidered from ground up, and so I think you have to do that. And I hope that we addressed all of our concerns. You will see.
Yeah, and I would add that, it's an experimental phase. It's the first time that we've done such a large meeting online. So I think we're open to feedback from the members and with their experiences. And if we have to do it again, then, we would have some experiences to improve upon it. And I'm sure the Inform staff feels exactly the same way.
Sure. Now, of course, a lot of challenges here, but with challenges, sometimes there are opportunities. What in this new meeting format are you most excited about?
Well, I still think that the fact that you can go back and listen to a talk many times, you can also go and see your own talk, which you never actually do. I've never seen a talk of mine actually recorded. And that young students can actually show their video to potential employers in the future. So I think I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it has a lot of the advantages that we have in the classroom, the trade-offs between asynchronous versus synchronous learning. Many of my students say, they prefer asynchronous, and that's similar to this, where they have the pre-recorded talks where they can go back and look at them over and over, because in the synchronous classes, they sometimes miss things. But we also allow the chat and the questions and answers, so there is the interactivity as well. So we're hoping we've captured the best of both worlds.
Yeah. In some ways, it might actually be more interactive.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So here we are on Monday. What if we fast forward to the end of the conference on Friday? How would you define the success of the meeting?
Well, I guess as organizer of conferences, usually hear all of what went wrong and none of what went right. So if we hear just a little went wrong and a lot of what went right, I'd be happy. But overall, if people have gained something from this conference, they find new experiences that they haven't experienced before, I'd be delighted.
Yes, if I hear that, they still experience some of the engagement, I know it's not the same as being in person, going out for dinner and so forth, but if they're still able to capture some of that magic from meeting some of their colleagues virtually, I think that's what I would call a success.
Yeah, and let's not forget that opportunity to attend the conference from virtual any place. I mean, even yourselves. After this incredible journey, I'm surprised you aren't both watching this from some relaxing beach someplace. Well,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's why I said it. Yeah. There's no doubt that a great deal of research, preparation, hard work, and I'm sure sleepless nights went into the planning and execution of this meeting. And I want to just thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity of speaking with you.
Great. Coming up next, we have the plenary panel discussion hosted by the one and only Ann Robinson of Kinaxis. Forecasting models for the COVID-19 pandemic. will feature Julie Swan of NC State, Retzef Levy of MIT, Nicoletta Serban of Georgia Tech, and Nicholas Reich of the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. At noon, you can join one of the technology workshops in the exhibit hall.